one of your last matches in 1992 was against Nails, the very short-lived character Nails. What were your thoughts on Nails? And I've got to ask, were you there that infamous day where Nails had his behind-the-scenes situation with Vince?
Yeah, lunatic is what I call him. I happen to know him because he lived in Minnesota where I lived, and when you go to his house, he had like 3 or 4 Rottweilers, and they were trained on his command. And if you went to the door and knocked, you wouldn't hear a sound, and you'd open that door, and he'd go, "Yeah." No, not just to me, but somebody that wasn't supposed to be at his house. "Can I help you?" And there'd be 3 dogs with their ready to pounce on these people. But he was a lunatic, yeah. But so I had this match with him, and it went okay. I did him a favor, tried to give him a push to go. And so what? Now I'm basically out of the business. I did him a favor. I put the boots back on to help him out. But I'm working backstage as a producer. And so we have this meeting in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And after the meeting, we all leave, and Vince likes to stay into the office there and do some phone calls and do some business and everything. So myself and Arnold Skolin and Tony Gurria and a couple other guys were standing around just talking, Jack Lanza. And here comes Nails. And he goes, "Hey, Sarge, how you doing?" I said, Good. Is Vince around? I said, "Yeah, he's in the office here." He said, "Do you think I could talk to him?" I said, "Well, let me see." So I opened up the door. I walked in. I said, "Vince, Nails wanted to have a word with you." He said, "Yep, send him in." So I said, "Okay, you can go in." So we're all kind of there standing, just listening. All of a sudden, we heard the furniture going, and I go in, and Vince is on the floor on his back, and Nails is on top of him, choking him. And he's choking him and choking him. So what the hell is he doing? So I went around, and I knocked his hands up off of Vince's throat, and I shoved him up against the blackboard. And I'm holding him. And a couple of other guys came in, and they're helping Vince get up. And Nails breaks away from me, and he gets on Vince again and starts choking him the second time. And so I do the same thing. I turn around, I get a running start at it, and I knock his hands off his throat again, and I put him up against the blackboard. And they get Vince out of there, and all of a sudden, Nails kind of relaxes, and he looks right at my face, and he goes, "Oh, hey, Sarge. I didn't mean to get you involved in this." And I said, I'm involved. I know you didn't want me to get involved, but I'm here. You need to get the hell out of here. What are you doing? You crazy? He said, "Oh, no, I just want to talk some business." So I escorted him out of the room, and he said, "Do you know if there's a payphone around here?" And I said, "Yeah, right there." So he goes around, dials 911. Next thing, I hear all the cops are coming. They come in, and he says, that Vince McMahon molested me. He was trying to feel me and whatever, and I had to choke him. So I want to press charges on him. Now, what in the hell is wrong with this guy? And so that's where it was left. And of course, they had a couple of guys got the Nails drunk the night before and told them how much Vince was screwing him out of his payoffs. And so he came there to strangle the money out of him, I guess. But I was right there. I was a part of that.
Well, because you worked in the office for a while, and there's a lot of stuff that people maybe don't know you were involved in, but you actually came up with the Yokozuna gimmick.
Yes, not only Yokozuna. When I first kind of retired from the ring, I got a job looking, I don't know what my job was. I went in, I had a suit and tie on, and I went to Vince's office, and he said, "Oh, good, I'm glad you're here. You're going to really help us out. What do you want to do?" I said, "I don't know. What do you want me to do?" He goes, "I don't know. What do you want to do?" I said, "I don't know. What do you want me to do?" So, "Come on, let's go." So he takes me into the production talent relations office, and J.J. Dillon was was the guy running the talent relations. And he goes, JJ, Sarge is going to be employed starting today. What should he do? And JJ said, I don't know. What should he do? and they said, Sarge, what do you want to do? I said, I don't know what you want me to do. So Vince says, you guys figure it out. And he left. And so JJ says, I got an idea. So he takes me in this room, unlocks the door, turns on the lights, and there's boxes and boxes of videos and letters and postmarked envelopes and all kinds of things in these boxes. He said, this is what we call the wannabe room. These are people that want to be professional wrestlers or be in professional wrestling, whether they want to be a wrestler, announcer, a valet, whatever, or they want to be a cameraman. Why don't you start going through all these? So So I set up a little thing there, and I put a cassette tape in, and I could tell right away if it was somebody that I should want to bring in. So a lot of times there was only like 10, 12 seconds, and the tape would be ejected, put aside, but I had a notepad. And so I came across quite a few wrestlers, Taz, Billy Gunn, his brother Bart, 1-2-3 Kid, John Waltman, Adam Baum. Razor Ramon was a friend of Kurt Hennings, and Kurt was a good friend of mine. He called me, Sarge, I hear you're ahead of finding new talent. He said, Scott Hall is a great, great talent, and he's doing this cowboy thing, and I think you should give him a shot. I said, yeah, tell him to come in. So he came in, gave him a tryout match, and Vince fell in love with it. He said, I got the perfect character for him. Made him Razor Ramon. And one of my all-time favorites was a guy. I started watching him, and I went, holy cow. I ejected it. I put it under my arm like a American football player. And I ran to Vince's office, and I was like knocking people out of the way. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. This is important. So Vince was in a meeting. I said, Vince, I showed him the tape. You got to see this guy. You got to see this guy. Sarge, if you think he's worth a tryout, bring him in. So, okay. I go back. I get the number, call the guy up. Hello? Yeah. This is Sgt Slaughter from WWE. Uh-huh. Yeah, right. Who is this? Oh, this is Sgt Slaughter, WWE. Okay, ha. Hangs up on me. So I call him back. Hello, Sgt Slaughter here. Who is this? Come on, enough of this. Who is this? I said, it's me, Sgt Slaughter, WWE. He hangs up on me again. So the third time I said, listen, don't hang up on me. Right, you got a pencil and paper? Yeah. 203-352-8600 and ask for me. And listen to this. Cram, I slam the phone down. So about 2 minutes later, girl comes in. There's somebody on the phone for you. It's okay. Hello? Oh, it is you. I said, yeah, it's me. I got your tape. You sent a tape in to the company that want to become a wrestler or become a WWE superstar. Yeah, I do. I said, can you be at Rochester, New York next week? Yeah, I'll be there. And he walks in. I said, just look for me and go from there. So he comes in. I said, just take your stuff over to the extras room and go to catering. And if you find somebody that you can have a match with, let me know. You'll be on the first or second match. It's a dark match. It won't be aired. It's for our own time to look at it. Okay, I'll do it. So he comes back. Yeah, I found somebody. So he goes down, has his match. Next thing, I'm watching the match on the monitor, and my earpiece comes off my ear, and it's Vince. Sarge, yeah. Where'd you find this guy? He said, I've been watching him on my monitor in my office. I said, in a box of tapes. He said, send him to my office immediately after he's done. Wrestler comes up. How did I do? I said, I thought you did great, but Vince McMahon wants to talk to you. Did I do something wrong? I said, I think you did something right. Went down and introduced him. His name was Mark Calloway. Became the Undertaker, and never left that day. That's how things happen. Mark Calloway became the Undertaker from a box of tapes. Believe that? Yeah. Still gives me goosebumps when I think about it.
We've got time for a couple more questions. So you end up coming back in 1997 as Commissioner Slaughter.
Right.
And you're heavily involved with DX.
Right.
Shawn and Triple H have the windscreen wipers.
Yeah.
There's the boot camp match. It was a weird thing because you were an old school guy. Now we're in the Attitude Era. But you were a big part of helping DX get over in that scenario. Yeah. How was it for you being part of the old guard, helping the new guard get over?
Yeah, that was basically my job. Somebody did it for me, so I wanted to do it for them. And before I get into that, Yokozuna you had mentioned, Vince came to me one day and he said, Sarge, see that big Hawaiian kid there, that Samoan kid? I said, yeah, I've worked with him many times. And he said, I want to do something with him, but I got 10 Samoans now. I don't know what to do. He said, should I do like Dusty, put some big polka dots on his butt? Or, I don't know what to do with him. So I got to my hotel that night, and I got to thinking, he'd be a great sumo wrestler, And so the next day, Vince comes to the meeting. I said, I got to talk to you. He said, I'm busy, but I'll talk. So I'm waiting. Finally, he comes out. I said, I got an idea for the Samoan kid. He says, what? I said, make him a sumo wrestler. He said, I like that idea. Go get him and Fuji and bring him to my office. So they go in the office, come back out. Mr. Fuji that was his last night to be in the WWE. And he came over to me and he got down on his knees and he kissed my hand. He said, thank you. And I didn't know what was going on. He said, thank you. And Rodney comes over to me. He said, Sarge, thank you. I said, what's going on? He said, we have to go up to the office. They want me to be a sumo wrestler, and Fuji's going to be my manager. And I said, oh, great. And that's how that happened. But Fuji always thanked me. He said, that was my last night, and you saved me. But we ad-libbed pretty much all the time, when we were doing the DX, and, we were at war, and we had Steve Austin come in, and The Rock was just starting to get over, and the war's going on, and so we did everything we could to try to make each other laugh. And that was a taboo. We're not supposed to laugh when you're in a ring, we're on live television. So we're doing all this with the DX, and I come into the ring to give him, some orders, and tell him what I'm gonna make him do. And so I see these two bags sitting there in the ring, and I think, God, are they gonna dump some slime on me, or what's going on? Because we never talked anything over. And so I started doing my Sgt Slaughter interview on him. My saliva goes all over everybody. I'm sure a few of you got hit already. In the front row here. I'm sorry. But so they said, hold it, Sarge, hold it. And they both reach into these bags and they put on these welder's masks with shields, clear shields on them. And I kind of thought, well, that's funny. That's cute. I didn't laugh or anything. And so I said, well, I'll continue giving them the business. And they would stop me again. Hold it, Sarge. And they both pushed buttons, and the windshield wipers started going. Well, I'll tell you, it took everything in my power. I thought of the worst things possible in my mind not to laugh. And so I got through it. But when they finally took the mask off, I showered them with more saliva than I can imagine. And they were just like, oh, look. I said, and then we got back, they were laughing. I said, it backfired on you, didn't it? Backfired on you. So that was kind of fun. But that's what made the business. That's what made the business so much fun back in those days, because we didn't have scripts. The scripts came with CM Punk. He's the one that caused all the scripts, because he started doing live interviews and using the F-bomb. And Vince got fed up with it. He said, you're going to make me lose my stations, my sponsors. You can't use the F word. And I'm sorry, it slipped out. He said, oh, yeah, right. Yeah. You know, you've been in this business long enough not to use that. So the next time he did it, boom, he was fired. And we had an emergency meeting that night. And Vince said, from here on in, everything's going to be scripted. I want to know exactly what you're saying, what he's saying, what you're saying. And that's how the scripting started. So thank you, CM Punk.